Well, here we are in June. Suddenly, Simon and Garfunkel, a song that goes through the seasons, through the months, and for June, it's June she'll change her tune. In restless walk she'll prowl the night. That's a good starting off place, I think. A change is coming. And then thinking about the full moon, the energy of the tide pulling the water. You know, the gravitational pull. And it isn't pulling the water, it's pulling the earth under the water. Somebody said that, and I think that's fascinating. But I got this literally wash of water imagery. And I'll just read a few of them because something may appear. Throw me a line. Overwhelmed. Rafting up. Right of way. Far from the shallow. Rough water. Out of your depth. Touching bottom. Plumbing the depths. And I like it because as you read them in order, it almost has a narrative right there. You know, of getting help, throw me a line. You know, I'm sinking. I'm overwhelmed, which literally means the wave is crashing over you. Whelm is apparently a word for wave. Overwhelmed. Rafting up is what you can do with another boat. You go alongside, you tie one boat to the other in a kind of raft. So you can anchor together and go back and forth. We do that a lot in the summer here in Maine. You know, and right of way, like you're approaching, two boats are approaching, who has the right of way? It's like on a, you know, if you have the yield sign, you got to stop, the other guy gets to go. Doesn't always work out that way, but it's sort of the rules of the road, the rules of the ocean. Far from the shallow, sort of self-evident. Rough water, I mean, like, it happens. Out of your depth. You know, in a situation where you feel like you don't know enough, you're not adequate to the task. Touching bottom, both in the sense of, you know, you have to touch bottom to push off and go back to the surface. It's a scary thing to touch bottom, but it's that it gives you the opportunity to push off. Plumbing the depths. I mean, you could go down, 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 but you really do need to resurface at some point. We do. Without getting the bends, you know, without going too fast. Doing it kind of in stages. So, I like that. And I did a pre-read, you know, it came out in this sort of chunk, another deck, other, you know, it's a Rider-Waite. And I'll refer back to that if it seems to make sense. It may have been just for me. You know, I have a feeling we're on a similar wavelength, so, but depending on how this read goes, I might refer back to that. So, all the water imagery. You know, how we navigate feelings. In short, how we navigate feelings. There's a change ahead. Like when the wind changes, you have to change course correct. You know, because you might be being pushed this way, so you have to tack back. I mean, it's a sailing is not like I mean, unless you're on a downwind thing where you can just sort of let the wind take you there. You know, because the wind and your destination are one and the same. If it's not, it's a more difficult thing. You have to tack, you have to go this way. You know, I don't know how that will play out. Wind and water, please. Ace of Wands. That's a direction. Wands can be directional. The thing that points you or pulls you, or that you're intuitively kind of impelled to go forward and do this thing. It's sort of like the direction of the boat. Having a sense of direction. How to begin. And in this case, it kind of depicts that third eye, you know, having the vision first of where you want to go. Setting the intention. Not based on rote. It's based on a creative, inspirational spark. That you're envisioning it first. Okay, I like this with the boat imagery. To me, it looks like this is Queen of Swords, the energy of sort of knowing and discernment and truth. And she's in a boat. This looks to me like a rudder in her hand. The sword, right? The sword is the rudder. You know, she's being guided by kind of her true north, her truth, what she really believes in. And is willing to cut through with the sword of what might impede her forward movement. Any kind of, you know, she can discern what's true and what's not. So she's likely to cut a path. For some reason, I'm putting it down like that. Okay. Oh my God. King of Swords. On the table, they're faced like this, looking at each other. I'm trying to see if he's really looking at her. It's hard sometimes okay. I think he may be looking away from her. You know, so she's assessing this character. This character is assessing, from an analytical point of view, the truth, the objective truth. And this is kind of like the truthometer, you know. And it's bizarre that I just can't figure out. Yeah, he is looking at her, I do believe. Anyways, that's interesting in and of itself. On the board, they're looking in opposite directions. She's looking back. But she's moving forward. She's moving forward away from King of Swords. And he may be trying to figure out analytically what happened. How did we have... It's splitting tacks in that same marine metaphors. If two boats are going in the same direction, they split tacks. They change their directions. And they might be going like this toward the same destination, but by this different route, they split. And what's revealed underneath that is Queen of Cups. You know, again with the water. This is like a baptism I'm seeing. She's in the water and she's in this sort of openness to feelings, mature feelings. And there's something about a take me to the river kind of energy here. That goes beneath Ace of Wands. So it's an inspirational kind of activation of her ability to envision. And in this one, it's interesting because in both of these, the eyes are shut. It's inner vision. It's an openness to feelings. You know, it's a willingness to be submerged in this ecstatic feeling. And it may activate her ability to, her visionary ability, or it may also be that she's having a vision of this loving energy, which comes from, you know, it's kind of like it comes from above for her. Her palms are open to receive the vision. Oh, interesting. And we have next Knight of Swords, the fast-moving messenger. And above that, it's about to go below Queen of Swords. I know this is a weird... I'm doing the cards in kind of different way, and I'll try to not have that be confusing. Beneath Knight of Swords, this fast-forward movement and sword energy based on an understanding or something that this knight wants to say. Eight of Swords, again the not seeing. But this is a different kind of, this is an eyes shut in order to get the internal vision. This is somebody who's trapped in their thoughts. And it's the two selves. Somebody looking in the mirror and seeing a trapped self, imprisoned by their beliefs, their thoughts. Somebody's put them, you know, sort of trapped them somehow in a system of, I'm not sure what. But it's sort of divided self from self. You know, the self can't, there's some Lincoln quote about that. A divided house cannot stand. This is sort of the divided internal self. Somehow getting trapped. Either somebody else has trapped you in how they think about you, perhaps, or you've, whatever it is, it's kind of bled over. It's passed on to you some kind of mental trap when you try to think about yourself. That's under Queen of Swords. Who would be able to move on from that? Have the clarity to say, you know, I can use my truth and my clarity to move on from whatever this deception was. Like Queen of Swords is kind of becoming aligned and cutting out whatever has held her back. She's going forward based on her own knowing, her own kind of knowing truth from lies, let's put it that way. Under King of Swords, we have 10 of Pentacles. A mature King of Swords energy. Mature in the sense that it's not the page, the sort of beginner. It's not the knight who's the carrier of the message. It's like the source of the thing. King of Swords. Because he's speaking or expressing some kind of truth. Because the lines of communication, in this thing we have a telegraph pole in the background, and the wires are down. I think he's been clammed up and incommunicative. The wires were down. And there's a crow, a dragonfly, a bat, and an owl. You know, it's all these potential ways of communicating. The ancestors, the nocturnal ones, the daylight ones, the loud ones, the soft ones, you know, who don't have a big voice. It seems to me the speaking lines of communication, because swords are about speech, are down between these two, King and Queen of Swords. But the messengers, often it refers to the ancestors or his own inner knowing, trying to get through to him by some mechanism other than the sword energy, the analytical. And I think there's something where somebody knows that they have ideas that make them feel trapped from, getting fulfillment in life with the people they care about. This is a card of home. You know, we have joy all around. The couple, the kids in the background playing, the happy dog. It's inclusive energy that somebody may have felt cut off from. Sword energy. Both of these guys may have felt cut off from Ten of Pentacles, perhaps with each other. But that one, when I pulled the Ten of Pentacles off, Judgment, the chance to come back to life, the opportunity for new life, answering the call. You know, it's kind of like rising up. Again, with this sort of prayer pose that this person is in, hands like this. You know, the other one's like this. Minor Arcana. Something about being willing to feel and feeling the love. That somehow resurrects, brings new life. The baptism. And I hasten to say this isn't about the Christian concept of rebirth and baptism and all of that, because those practices, every culture practices those. Take me to the river, let me feel the feelings that connect me with the divine, and kind of the struggle to come to clarity, to get in our real environment, Pentacles, earth energy, real Ten of Pentacles environment. You know, the next life. the next, perhaps even incarnation, if you want to look at it that way. And under that, Page of Wands. You know, new life. Being resurrected on the basis of some kind of a deep feeling of connection with a love that makes us new. You know, the baptism that washes you clean and makes you new. This is the new energy, fire energy. It kind of literally fires you up, life force energy for this ascension, this new life. Regardless of what the belief system is, this is the way to get there. This is the way to get there. And somebody's moving fast because they have a new understanding. They want to tell somebody about it. And we have Hangman, card of Pisces. A water sign. Doesn't have to be, but it's somebody who's done a deep consideration based on their feelings. They've gotten an enlightenment, an understanding that kind of woke them up. You know, their enlightenment, literally, their head is lit up. And this is sort of like the chrysalis stage, you know, like a stillness. That brings in because this is kind of in a certain way, a passive, it's a receptive energy. You know, it's receiving it. It's not running around and trying to dig it up. It's letting it rise, feeling it from above. And it may have taken a long time, but it's like now there's Ace of Wands, Page of Wands, Judgment. You know, the Ace of Wands, the spark, the kind of realizing it's in your own power. Wands speak to power. You have a vision that you can begin. You take up the wand and do something new with it. Ace energy, Page energy, new. The new direction, the course correction, perhaps. But it's joyful. It's a sort of a card of, I can do this, because aces can speak to the person, the individual. You know, I'm inspired by my inner vision to do this, to receive it. Even if it means like going into a time of non-action, which, you know, our society often doesn't support. Going inside, you know, eyes shut to receive the vision. You know, into this apparent passivity, which really isn't passive at all. Because you're coming to an understanding. And it can be from the, you know, plumbing your own feelings, but also looking at it from a new perspective. A new perspective that allows this new beginning. The resurrection and the light. The light. Sorry, somebody was saying they couldn't hear me. It's a chronic problem. And I know I often drop off at the end of a sentence, so I'll try to be aware of that. This is awareness. You know, I mean, it's a lovely sequence. The vision, the fresh action based on a new awareness. Take me to the river. Opening to love, what it looks like to me. And here we have, and I'll stop at this point, but okay, please stop. Yeah, okay. Gosh, sometimes they just want to keep telling the story. Queen of Wands. In this Wands energy, Ace of Wands, Page of Wands, Queen of Wands. Intuitive, excited, inspired energy. You know, so if there's been a kind of apparent passivity while somebody plumbs the depths, that was one of them, plumbs the depths. Now we have Queen of Wands, who's not really the action taker on the outside, but she is very mature in understanding herself and the situation on a, and we always talk about vibes, and it's sort of a buzzword, but you know, reads the energies, reads other people's intentions, knows her own direction. She has her own sense of direction, not dissuaded. But it's paired up with Four of Wands. You know, a card of reunion and celebration in her energy. That's sort of, I think, that's what she's going for. Not in the active way, but, you know, I'll know it. It's being in an environment that's compatible with who she is, and with somebody who's compatible because they're joining her there. It's sort of like, I'll meet you there. I'm on my way. This new energy, this new path, for this new beginning in Wands energy. Somebody's going to meet her there. They have the same sense of direction. Meet somebody there. Four of Wands, Four of Swords. But first, there's again that pause to heal the mind, to stop talking in order to clear the mind, to get into this place. This is a card of removing yourself from a situation, kind of entering into, remember I said this was like a chrysalis? This is a person in a nest. You know, needing that a little more healing, a little more maturation. You know, to process their feelings will take some time. A little bit of time. Because they're, you know, they're the chrysalis ready to be born and head in a new direction. Last card out. Death card. The transformation. You can see this landscape. There's this hooded figure, you know, the end of something. And this, you can see inside the hood, not blankness, not the abyss. It's another landscape. And right in the center of it, this shining star, this shining sun, this light, sort of at the end of the tunnel. It's entering into a new life. New beginning, Ace of Wands. After clearing your head and achieving, through plumbing the depths, some understanding. And this is almost like, remember I said rock bottom and you can push off? This is a little bit like that, because there's the ending, the death, and the transformation into a new life. And it's like we can see it from here. We can see it from here. We can envision it. You know, once we've sort of cleared the mind. There's life. There's life. There's life after death. You get reborn. And whether a culture talks about, you know, being reborn in a, well, there are a lot of ways to look at it. But whatever it is, it involves a major, major, major transformation. Scorpio energy in that water realm. Pushing off the bottom. Resurfacing. Coming back to life. And it's sort of like coming back to life. Kicking ass. Taking names. Like there's a big change coming. For her. For them. Because it's her, but it's her in reunion with somebody who matches up with her on a vibrational level. You know, not just in doing the dance in 3D, we're complementary. You know, we like the same things. This is like matching with somebody on such a deep level, hangman, that you can't even really talk about it. You experience it. You experience it, this new life. And judgment can also be like answering the call, you know, hearing the call to rebirth. Somebody's hearing it. Discovering a truth that they want to communicate. And I think after a passage of time and some healing in the energy of, sword energy of communication and kind of right thinking, these two can come together. And this is kind of, you know, hallelujah, in love. Something's changed. They're going to meet kind of halfway. They each are headed in sort of in the right direction. love and passion transform this. Shazam. They're saying, look for timing. Well, I think it's fairly fast because there's this pulling back to clear the head. That's what happens when you do. You get the vision. You begin with this fresh energy, and it revives. There's kind of the transformation and then the party. You know, the life energy. When this thing is transformed, these people, I think, will find their way to each other. And I think, really, King of Swords, you know, Libra, Gemini, Aquarius, will wise up. We'll figure something out. A way to communicate. A way to communicate. Out of the trap, the mental trap, which had blocked this 10 of Pentacles situation. Okay, all right. So we have Scorpio, the energy of transformation. It's a major arcana. It's a big deal. And the other major arcanas are Judgment, the call back to new life, and Hanged One. I'm sorry, I'm trying to get them both in the light. In the light. Both in the light. Feelings have been processed. Head has been cleared. That's the transformation. The meeting place. Damn, Sam. That's good news. And this is kind of like the news coming in. It's good news. Cause for celebration. Once you get there, which won't be too long. And it won't be too long. It won't be too long. Just long enough to get it. To kind of transform the analytical knowing through feeling it all the way down, plumbing the depths and pushing off. And you have that in the Judgment card, that pushing off the energy of the person rising up into the new life. On the rise. On the rise.